Right, that's enough of that. Welcome to the Betatalk Podcast Halloween special. I am your host, Kieron, and I'm joined today with Jack and Dave.
Hello.
What up?
So today, boys, I thought we, as in the Halloween spirit, just thought to talk about stuff Halloween related or something to do with horror.
Spoopy things.
Spoopy things.
Nice.
To be fair, I don't know where to start really, because it's just I got topics, but it's like, how do you start it?
I mean, what have you anyone got anything planned for tomorrow?
Well, I'm working tomorrow, but then I'm going out shortly after.
There you go.
Anyone-
I don't have anything planned. I think my weekend's gonna just involve a lot of eating and gaming. A lot of Halloween specials going on in games at the moment.
Ooh.
Yeah, there is.
Anyone got a favourite horror game they've been playing recently, or of all time?
See, you got me on for the Halloween podcast, but I don't like scary stuff. So I tend to not play horror games or watch horror films and stuff like that.
That's nice.
Imagine, just invite someone on who's like, I don't like horror.
We should get Jack to play Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's nice.
Good God, yes.
Oh, that song of it is sick.
To be fair, I haven't really played a lot of scary games recently, because
I haven't
I've
played
only
any.
watched the Plasmomania one, but I haven't really played any other ones. I think one of the favourite horror games, which is the most notable one, I think everyone knows, is Outlast, because that's actually good, like both 1 and 2.
Yeah. The last one I played was was it Five Nights? I think it was the VR version though,
Oh.
which was I played. I mean, I played it once and that was it.
I mean, I
I'm
would
not
have played
playing
it
that
once
again.
in VR and wouldn't want to play again.
This is what I mean. I kind of got talked into that, and it wasn't fun.
Yeah, you want to ease yourself into horror games. You don't want to go for the ones that are instant jump scares.
Yeah.
Well, jump scare first of horror games.
Apart from that, I'm watching a movie tonight. I think I'm watching Goosebumps. I haven't seen it before.
I mean,
Wait,
the original or the
2015?
new one?
The one with Jack Black or the...
Yeah, it's the one with. Oh, I actually don't know, to be fair. I've just been told that's what I'm watching. So.
Okay. Well,
If it's on Netflix, it'll be the Jack Black one.
It might be that one then.
Yeah. To be fair, I think I saw that film a couple of years back when it came out in cinemas. It wasn't too bad.
It's not bad. It's actually pretty decent.
Pretty decent for a kids horror film, as well as Jack Black actually doing a pretty good job as R.L. Stein. I swear, any horror story that he writes, and there's a dog or cat involved, you just know it's gonna die. I swear to God, this happens in every R.L. Stein story I've read. I'm like, oh, they got a dog or a cat or a turtle. Gets killed in the next 3 chapters in.
Nice. So basically, the story is don't get attached to animals in the horror films.
The story
Just
is
don't-
don't let
just don't
animals
get
in the story.
No, just don't get attached to anything in a horror film or book.
Yeah, because they're
They
gonna
will
die. Yeah.
They're gonna get oofed.
I did watch that film. You know, the one with John Krasinski, the one where you have to be quiet.
Quiet. Oh.
He did it with his
Quiet Place.
wife.
Yeah, Emily Blunt and.
That was it. Quiet
Krasinski,
Place. Yeah.
or
That was one I watched as well.
most people know him as Jim from The Office.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Jack Ryan as well.
Jack Bryan. Yep.
Yeah. No. That was another one that I watched. It was when it came out a couple of years ago, but obviously I got talked into going to the cinema for that one. Again, it's never voluntary whenever I do anything that involves scary things.
It just seems like you're forced into everything.
You're basically dragged in there, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would 100% drag it to a horror film.
Well, I mean, if it was a few years ago that we were hanging out at Kieron's
It was,
house,
yeah.
and
we used to watch
you all
Parental
decided, you all decided it was like, oh, what are we gonna put on? Oh, Paranormal Activity, and I'm sat there like, why? Like,
I forgot we did that to you.
I think I kind of ignored it and carried on playing Fallout.
Yeah, you kept making the retarded characters with Louis.
Oh yeah, Fallout 4.
Oh, I actually found a picture of one of those characters.
Oh, it's one
Oh,
of the videos
God.
is still on my YouTube channel where we're messing about with the Fallout 4 character creator.
Nice.
It's amazing. No, I remember the horror films we all used to watch. One of the films I remember that Dan just went, "Oh, it's a sci-fi film. It won't be scary." And it was Dark Skies. And I just remember like knowing it was a horror film. It was a sci-fi, but it was a horror.
It's more of a sci-fi than a horror, if I'm honest. Because there's nothing really scary in it.
It's when all the birds just yeet into the windows.
Yeah, but that's just I wouldn't really class it as a horror though.
That's like an Alfred Hitchcock the birds moment right there.
Yeah, I recently watched Stranger Things.
Ooh,
after not watching it. I felt I kind of had it overhyped for me. And I was expecting it to be scary, which actually for me I didn't find it scary at all. Like I was like, oh look, it's the Demogorgon. Wow, he's got lots of teeth.
To be fair, compared to CGI when it comes to Strange Things of season 1 and 2, season 2 like definitely had the budget at that time. It was basically, hey, we have a budget season now, and it actually looked cool. It wasn't scary or anything, but it was very very good for a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought all of the season were pretty good for Stranger Things.
Yeah, they were good. I think it was overhyped for me. I think that was
Yeah,
it. I really liked it.
It's overhyped.
It became very famous and very popular in the Netflix scene that everyone got so hyped over it. So literally, it almost became predictable, but it was still good because of character development and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there was lots of references to that era as well, the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s and late 70s, really.
Yeah, because they always had hidden Easter eggs in it as well.
Pretty sure they made.
But yeah, overall, I liked it.
I'm pretty sure they made some sort of a little Easter egg reference to Stranger Things with Stand By Me with Stranger Things with Dustin and
they did.
Steve walking on the train track.
I think you talked about it on your own Facebook or something.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I was like, dude, it's got a Stand By Me reference. I rate that. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, to be fair, it has been mentioned because it is Halloween. Halloween, Michael Myers. You guys watched it?
The original Friday the 13th or the new one?
Oh no, I'm talking about Halloween, the Michael Myers.
Yeah, the film. It's actually been so long since I've watched it.
I think I watched it last month.
Because they released the 2018 film on Netflix.
Yeah.
I would say how the 2018 sequel to the original. It wasn't because there's Halloween 2 in 1981, and then you got Halloween 3, which has nothing to do with Halloween, but it was meant to be an anthology, and then you got Halloween 4, 5, and then 6, and then you got the Halloween H2O 20 years later that takes place after Halloween 2. And then years later, after the remake, you get the sequel to Halloween, but it's the sequel to just the original, not the original 2. So it has nothing to do with Jamie Lee Curtis being Michael Myers' sister, or Laurie Strode, I mean.
Right.
Which doesn't sound like it makes sense. It's really confusing, but I'd say I did really like it because it was really good, and surprisingly enough, I thought was it David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, the guys who did Pineapple Express and Your Highness, did a really good job with Halloween. And to be fair, that's a lot with comedians that can actually do really well with horror films, like Jordan Peele, John Krasinski. I can't say his last name. It's
Krasinski.
Yeah.
What I said.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think a lot of films, classics and things, I haven't really watched, and it's not that I've never seen them. It's that obviously we watched them as kids. At least I did, because I'm weird like that. And me being not too into scary things, never actually bothered to kind of get into them. When I was older, but I think that might be something that I need you to show me through, Kieron, because I know that you like all the scary stuff. So need kind of like a marathon of all like the essential scary movies that.
Friday 13th's definitely on that list.
Yeah.
Do Nightmare on Elm Street as well.
Nightmare on Elm Street. You've got actually one I would mention, but it's very gory. But it's Hellraiser. I actually only watched it for the time yesterday, and I thought, "Wow, how have I missed this?" I've heard about it, but I never went to watch it. But then I watched it yesterday, and I just actually went, "Why didn't I watch this ages ago? This is brilliant."
See, I'm fine with gore and that doesn't bother me. It's the jump scares.
That's what I hate with recent horror films today, like The Conjuring and Annabelle and The Nun. And really, I'm just referencing all the the horror or Conjuring universe from Warner Brothers or New Line Cinema, and it's what I hate, because I especially hate watching them in the cinema because it is loud. It's not that I get scared; it's just really annoying because it's just like, oh, for God's sake. Because you know it's coming, you know it's going to be loud, so you're just preparing yourself. And that's why I kind of have a recent problem with horror films today. Like, I think the 80s did have jump scares, but they didn't have them very often. They had them.
No, they still had jump scares, but now it's like they're overused.
Yeah, they do get overused. Like, you know it's coming, but they're going to make it loud anyway, so you still jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a few years ago. I was working at Cineworld, and I was there for Halloween, and after the night shift on Halloween, we probably finished up about like 1 o'clock. We all then had like a little party, and after the little party, it must have been like 2-3 in the morning. We went into one of the screens, and they were showing the new Jigsaw before. I can't remember when it released. If it was before
2017.
Oh yeah, it was literally released a few days before Halloween. So like, it had released, and none of us had seen it yet. So we watched that like after our shift, and I mean that one was. I remember that one because it was like we were all just chilling and kind of just laughing at it, really, because it's Saw. Like, everyone kind of knows what's happened, like what's going to go on.
Yeah. To be fair, there is another Saw film coming out, and Chris Rock happens to be involved with it, as well as Samuel L. Jackson. But that's not coming out till next year now because of the pandemic, because it was meant to come out back in May. And I was actually like, I might just go see this purely for the fact Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson's in it, in a Saw film.
See, that'll be a bit weird.
It'd be interesting, to be fair. But
yeah, because all I think of is people say Chris Rock is fucking thing from Madagascar.
Everybody hates Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Oh my god. To be fair, he's in another horror film. He plays as a narrator, but he's in the remake of The Witches, which I've heard isn't good, but I haven't seen yet. He plays as a narrator. I haven't heard of that. And to be fair, all that went through my head was everybody hates witches. Because he's like narrating, I'm pretty sure that's what happened in the show. Everybody hates Chris. I say, trying to think of other horror films I would recommend to, like, people out there. Like, Halloween, obviously, because of, it's Halloween. Friday the 13th, because it's a classic slasher. Although I would be mentioning this in the Christmas special, but because it is a horror, I'll mention it here. Black Christmas, because that was one of the slasher films before Halloween. So that was back in 1974. And then Halloween released 4 years later, in 1978.
Yeah, I just need going through all the classic films. I am that guy, especially at work, where people talk about classic films, no matter what genre it is, and they'll say something and they'll be like, "Have you seen that?" And I go, "No."
Nope.
and they're like, "How have you not seen blank?" You know, and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I just I see. I'm not like a massive movie guy compared to you, Kieran, because
Yeah.
I know that you are. You love your movies.
I do.
I'm just constantly gaming.
But to be fair, Dave, you got any favourite horror games you play?
I don't really have any of the really good horror ones now.
Ah, okay.
But I definitely want to upgrade my PC and get Phasmophobia.
Oh, I do as well. I've seen a bit of it because I watched one of my friends like
I
stream it on
fucking
Discord,
love it.
and it actually
You
looks
can either
good.
get chased by like a wraith, which is like this midget, and it's if you get chased by a teleporting midget that just hunts you down.
That's worse than Slender.
Yeah,
It's
that doesn't
definitely the
sound
best
good.
horror game.
To be,
I,
I'm thinking of rubbish horror films now. Come back thinking about that because I just thought of Slender Man, and I've just thought about the horror film Slender Man. I remember that was the worst horror film I think I've watched. Like,
I think the
long.
worst one I've watched is Brightburn.
Actually, I'm gonna. Oh, okay. I'm gonna slightly disagree with you on that one because I think, surprising enough, I do think
Yeah.
Brightburn is a good start for a superhero horror film, but I do feel like it could have had more. That's my
Oh,
only
it definitely
issue.
could have had more.
But for a concept, yeah. And make it as like it's a horror film, so it's actually unsettling. It's not like, oh, it's a villain. We gotta feel sympathy. We actually gotta be scared by this little bugger.
see, I would say the best horror film is don't watch horror films because why do you want to scare yourself? Like, just watch things
Bored.
that you're bored.
Develop paranoia. Oh, why not? I think I did that
There's,
with The Haunting of Sharon Tate, which had that girl from Lizzie McGuire in it. And I
I've got to say, a lot of the films that I've watched is the good ones that I've seen. It's kind of like you get a lot of jump scares, but it's kind of like when you get invested into the story of like who they are, how they're going to survive, blah blah, all that stuff. That is quite good. So I do see the appeal. It's just jump scares. Like I kind of guess that it immerses you into it. So
it makes
Yeah, I
you
can see that.
it makes you feel scared every now and again. Another classic horror film. That's got a fifth one in the works for not next year, but early the year after, which is Scream. Which is
okay,
the one with Ghostface.
yeah.
And to be fair, that plays on the concept of the horror film really well because it is kind of a satire. It's a serious but yet a somehow satire horror film. If that makes sense, it's really weird.
And most overused Halloween costume.
Exactly. And the killer's actually somebody. It's not. I know most slasher horror films do have somebody, but they're usually surprisingly strong. Like Michael Myers, Jason,
Yeah, but Michael Myers was like 7 foot.
and like on steroids.
Yeah, why can't they
I
have a
think.
horror film where it's just like Bob, who's 5'5" from accounting?
Oh my god.
Like, all they need to do is just have a gun. That's it, done.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of any horror. There was. I'm trying. American Horror Story. I don't watch it, but I only watched one season from it because it went back to the 80s. So I was like, I'll watch it, and I forgot how very twisted it gets. Because actually, to be fair, it's been out for ages, so I am gonna spoil it. But what happens is it's like a mix of like the campsite is cursed. So like when you die, if you die on the on campsite grounds, you basically you live forever, but you can't leave. But then you can make a deal with the devil, sort of thing. And
okay.
and that's what like the serial killer, the supposed serial killer, which was like a guy with glasses, middle-aged man who used to be a janitor, but then he turns out he's not actually the killer. He's actually just a nice guy who's just being manipulated and framed. So he, in a way, he actually becomes like the hero, like at the end of the story, which is brilliant. And that's what I found really good about American Horror Story, because it's very well, it doesn't seem like your typical horror horror story, but it is a very good one, set with twists and nooks.
Is that one that you'd recommend?
I would recommend it. Yeah, it is a TV series though, so.
See, I think if I overcome my fear of like jump scares and watching horror films on itself, I think there's quite a lot of like good stories that I'm missing out on. So I might overcome that fear with exposure therapy.
Fair enough.
Just watch everything.
Yeah, just go in for the kill. Just do it. Going for that multi-kill.
What's like the scariest film? I might just start with that one. Just go all out.
Yeah. To be fair,
Don't ask me. I'm not scared of any of them.
When I was a lot younger, and I heard about the famous Michael Myers from Halloween, when I actually looked at this character, I was absolutely terrified, because the mask was probably the most unsettling part, because it's so pale, and like the eye sockets are just completely dark. That's what creeped me out, and I was like, do not want to see that while I'm trick-or-treating. I really don't.
I think that's the thing. It incorporates the creepiness into it as well. It's like it looks creepy, a bit like a doll, but then it's like it's just a man, and you're like, oh, that's very unsettling.
Mm-hmm. It's the way the person stands as well, from like a distance, when he's like by a tree.
So basically, like me on weekends.
I'll see you hammered. Oh no, there's another horror film I forgot to mention. It is set in Halloween, but it is a really good one. Trick or Treat from 2007 or 2009.
I think I watched that on Netflix.
That one is so good. That honestly,
I kept trying to understand who the killer was at the start, like the first 10 minutes.
If there's a Halloween horror film you should watch besides Halloween, it's Trick or Treat. Honestly, I recommend it, because it's honestly one of the best ones I've seen in quite a long time. Because
the little guy with the bag over his head.
Sam. Yeah. It's weird I know his name as well. It's Sam. It's like the one with the kind of knitted like hood, and then he's got like a knitted like costume on. And he's like
little button eyes.
Yeah, he's like the spear of Halloween. I don't want to get into spoilers much, because this is actually something I would recommend. Actually, I don't want to spoil it, but I would recommend Trick or Treat, because it's absolutely amazing. It's basically a bunch of stories that all eventually link together in a way, because it is set in the same night in the same town-ish, but it is.
Oh, I see. So it's like, obviously, I'm guessing it cuts between multiple.
Yeah. It does.
Multiple stories, and then it all just links in together.
One of my favorite, but the thing is, it's actually great, because you actually can still keep on with the story. It doesn't like you forget about it. You actually still remember. Oh yeah, they did this. They did that earlier. And it's the reasons as well with what happens in the film is spot on, and the twist as well to mention. So Trick or Treat, I would recommend to absolutely anybody who's listening to this podcast. Like, I don't know if it's on Netflix. Did you mention it's on Netflix, Dave?
Different one.
Hold on.
Because I think there's one on Netflix called Trick, which I've watched, which is pretty good.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna check, because I'm not sure if it's on here. But
I am checking.
Yeah, I'm checking as well.
It's the one I'm thinking of.
I don't think it is.
No, okay, no. Okay, it's not on here. But it is such a good film. I would happily recommend it to anybody that's.
I mean, you can always watch Krampus.
Krampus
that's not
is
a horrible one.
Krampus isn't bad, but it does feel slow.
It's okay.
But it is by the same director and writer of Trick or Treat. But I believe he's confirmed he will be doing a sequel soon, but I don't know when. So
I just pulled up Netflix and searched for it, and one of the films that came up is Unfriended. Is that the one where they're like all on Skype?
Yeah, and so there's two films. There's the first one, which is is supernatural, so it's more about this girl who kills herself because she gets bullied online. And then basically she comes back from the dead through technology and kills everybody, including her best friend, while they're on the Skype call.
That makes sense. That's what I'd do if I
remember.
if I ever killed myself. I'd make sure to just like slaughter everyone that I used to know.
I just post memes. I just spam the chat. I just hack the Discord server.
If you lived on the internet,
now.
just... yeah, I remember all the adverts for that, and it was very weird. And
I remember I actually finally watched it, and I just thought it was really stupid but really funny.
I think that's the point. I do like a good bad film.
Yeah, some bad horror films can be so bad that they're actually good in a way. Like they're actually more entertaining. Like they're more of a very funny comedic film than they're supposed to be horror. There's because there's a sequel as well, which is The Dark Web, which I also hate because it doesn't. It's basically the definition of, hey, this is why you shouldn't go on the thing called Deep Web because it's, dangerous. Use a VPN if you're gonna. Because it's literally just people on a Skype call, again, one of them's going on the dark web, just checking out all the bits, and then, because he doesn't have his... And it's also a laptop as well he's found in, the trash dumpster that just happens to work. And, the deaths are, weird, because, someone gets swatted and then shot down, and then somebody, just gets kidnapped. But the sequel to Unfriended is more more set in a realistic setting than the first one. But again, they're both terrible films that they're more funny than meant to be scary. So, has anyone got any real life horror stories to tell? Because I know Jack mentioned to me he does.
See, personally, I haven't experienced anything, but I come from a family where we kind of talk about this, especially around Halloween. And the one that got me was my nan actually, and she told me a story about when she was working at this hospital, and she was working nights and had rooms with patients in it asleep and that. And my nan is someone that just doesn't. She doesn't lie. She's not one for attention or anything. But yet, she tells this story with the most sincerity. And basically, one night she's working at the hospital and she's walking the corridors, and she's talking with one of her colleagues who ends up going to the toilet or something. And as she walks down the room, she says that she got really cold. And so it was like, oh, is there a window open or something? So turned round, and down the corridor saw one of her patients, right? And first thing was like, why is she up? But the second thing that she noticed was she's not in her normal hospital gown. She was in this really large blue, really extravagant dress. And she was also wondering why how she was up as well, because they were quite old, elderly people, and they kept the doors locked, so they didn't just wander around, because a lot of them had dementia and things like that. And so she walks over, and she said this woman looked at her, she turned round, looked at her while she was going, and she's going what are you doing out of bed, Mrs. blah blah blah? And she turns left, walks straight through this closed door, right? To which my nan stops and doesn't really do anything.
Jesus.
Carries on over, and as she says that as she was getting closer and closer, it was getting colder and colder. And she went to open the door to check out what it was, and the door was completely locked.
Oh
so she unlocks the door, and goes in, and the patient that who she thought it was there.
Mm-hmm.
So as she walked in, the patient was there, and it wasn't actually her that she saw, but the patient then said, "You saw her too?"
Oh my god.
To which apparently she was told by some of the hospital staff that there was someone who died in that room, who since then the people had just seen her, and that's it. That's it. And I've spoken to someone that she was colleagues with at the time, and they confirm the same thing, that they saw it at the same time. So it's a bit strange.
That is unsettling.
I mean, that's the most convincing story I've heard from anyone. Like, 'cause if I hear it from anyone else, it's like that's a bit of attention. But this is from like my nan, never tell a lie type person.
I do have a couple stories to tell. I'm gonna start with the the second house. So basically, I now have officially lived in 3 houses. I've lived in so I've lived in 3 houses. So I lived in the first house for like a few years when I was younger, and then I moved a few years later to the second house, and now I'm currently living in the third house. But back in the second house, I'm not going to specify where it is because
that was where you were living when we met.
exactly. Funny enough,
We all know
that's
that.
where I started my YouTube channel back in 2008. So
It was, yeah.
I had so in the second house, I don't know if there was anything about any sort of paranormal thing or somebody had died there. I know my sister used to joke about that a couple times, but it was to scare me. But I remember there were a couple incidences where I was just kind of freaked out. Like they were a couple where I've experienced them by myself, somewhat, and I had actually right. Start with the first one because I'm kind of wandering off now. So the first one is basically where I keep thinking I see someone in the corner of my eye, especially like in between the hallway and the kitchen, is where I would usually see it quite often, as well as the living room. I think it happened. There was one night I had walked downstairs because I guess I couldn't sleep for some reason, and then I turned turned to left a bit, and I just saw like a little figure just dart right into the living room, and I just kind of went, "No, I'm going back upstairs."
Yeah, I just got chills then.
Oh god. So there was another time, there was another time where I was walking downstairs and I think I went to go tell my mum something because she was sat in the living room, and basically the living room light was on, so she was just sat in there. It was quiet, so there was like no TV turned on or anything. For some reason though, the TV in the living room would make random noises every now and again. I didn't know if it was just the TV or it was doing that deliberately, because it hasn't been doing it since when we've moved. But it will also play with my Nintendo Wii every now and again. So I don't know what that was about.
See, I can imagine you waking up one day, going on Mario, and then being like, "Who set a new high score?" Yeah. It's like, "Who's Mark?"
Who's Samantha?
Yeah, that would be really creepy.
Yeah, I'm out. No.
That's what I'm saying. Why is it it's always like scary little girls.
Yeah.
Certain names like Samantha. You know, it could just be Mark.
Yeah.
Or Keith.
Mark.
You know?
Or Dave, I don't know.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Dave the Ghost.
I mean, it's a common name. There probably is one out there.
Yeah. Be a nice ghost though.
Yeah, but they wouldn't call it just Dave. They wouldn't just be like, "Oh, Dave's coming." They'd be like, "That's Deadly Dave."
Deadly Dave.
Nice.
I love that name. So I had walked downstairs and I was going to tell my mum something, and I was going into the living room, I had just happened to look down to my mum because she was sat down, but I kind of looked down because I don't make eye contact quite often. This is a little bit of an autistic trait that is quite common. But basically, as I had came in, a shadow just went past, but I saw it on the armchair, and I just kind of freaked because it was going the opposite way as I was going.
Oh damn!
But the thing is, I looked down, and then my mum had also saw it, and we were just like, okay, that was odd. And then there was one more incident, because this is the only one I do really remember. Because my brother had come home, he brought home some food, and I was in the living room, and I heard him walk into the kitchen, so I heard his footsteps and everything. And then all of a sudden, I just had that it's really weird I say this, but you could feel a presence in the room, you could feel someone standing by. You don't feel the breathing, you don't hear the breathing, You just
I know what
set-
you mean. It's like
It's a-
when you kind of get that feeling that someone's watching you.
Yeah, that's what I felt like someone was standing right behind me, so I just had the instinct to turn right round, and then again, well, nobody was there really, as predictable as that sounds. So I was just kind of like, okay. But to be fair, it's mainly that living room, like in the second house I used to live in, was just had so many unsettled, like creepy things definitely went on in there. I don't think this was a bad time because I had just learnt about creepypastas and I used to think maybe a couple of them were actually real. And that was not a good time to think about those living in that house. Like the rake and Jeff the Killer and all that.
Yeah, I don't think your dreams. Well, I mean, nightmares would have been that fun.
I don't really want to wake up and feel something at the end of my bed. It's just a rake chilling and saying, yeah, you could have done in a few days, pal. I'm like, yeah,
See, the thing is, if you're in bed, you got to make sure your feet aren't hanging over the edge.
yeah,
You put them into the, if you have your feet hanging over the edge, you're exposed.
yeah, you're basically screwed. I used to.
And I'm 21 now, and still, I get in bed, and if my feet are hanging over like the edge of the bed, it's like I have to get them in because I know that like, oh yeah, something's gonna grab my feet from under the bed and pull me in.
I had that weird thing I can't turn around. Like when I'm where my bed sometimes is like right at the wall. This was like years ago. I would not turn around when I was like facing the wall because I feel like there'd be someone standing right by the end of my like.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that paranoia thought. I was like, I can't because I've seen all these serial killers. They're like powerful, so if I try and do anything, I'll just die.
See, that's why in my room you have. So you walk in, you have the bed, and I sleep like nearest to the wall, far away from the door,
Mhm.
and then my girlfriend sleeps next to me, and she's closest to the door, so I'm protected. If they're gonna get anyone, get her. I'm safe.
Now take her, please. I want to live. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And there's a weird thing with our minds where you just scare yourself in
It's-
situations. I think
it's
especially
overthinking.
like if I switch off a light and I'm like walking upstairs, because the light switch is
Myself.
downstairs, I'm like, I know there's nothing gonna happen in the dark, but yet still that journey from downstairs to upstairs in the dark is like, yeah, but like any second someone's gonna just grab me and just stab me. I like at any point, or I'm gonna get like a ghost take over my body or something.
Mhm. Dave, do you have any horror stories you want to talk about?
No, I don't have any at all.
Damn.
I've never had anything weird happen.
Fair enough.
Do you not even have the thing in the shower where you're like putting shampoo in your hair? And you close your eyes and you're like, that's it.
That
There's
doesn't
someone outside your shower waiting
doesn't
for you.
affect me during
I
the
mean,
day.
if there is, you're getting a good view.
Getting a good view, yeah.
It's getting a good view of my house. No,
Oh,
it doesn't affect me during the day, but it affects me at the night, especially if I have the light on. Even if I have the light on, it's still like freaky. I'm like,
Yeah, there's something about nighttime.
I think nighttime just puts an unset. Like it's so nice. Like looking at the stars is amazing, but then you just the unsettled the silence and the how everything's dark, and you're like, okay. I think I actually have another. I don't know if it's a horror story, but it's more of a funny one, really. I think this is to so we don't not feel afraid all the time. But it was an incident that happened years ago, and this was when I was in primary school. So me like in year 5, we went on this trip to one of these places where you got to stay for a few days and you did a bunch of like indoor and outdoor activities. I remember one of them was the investigation thing where someone got murdered, and I don't know why, but at first I thought it was real. Like I thought someone actually got murdered. So I remember being absolutely paranoid for the first couple of nights, and then only be told, "Yeah, it's not actually real. Don't worry." But this happened on the last night before we headed home, and I don't know what happened. Someone had apparently like thrown a into the bin, and someone in our room decided to put it outside, and they put it on the top of this pole, like which was just happened to be outside our window, like by a
Okay.
forest. And I remember we were just all sat in bed, and I think they had just turned the lights out, and we were chilling. And then someone just kind of went, "Why does that look like someone's outside the window?" And then someone got really freaked out, and then everybody started to get freaked out. Even in my head, I was like, "Oh God, not why." Because I had thought about the whole like CSI murder thing, and I was like, "No, it's real, it's real." We're gonna
See,
die.
I have moments like that where, because I'm at the top of my house, I've got like my ceiling is like at an angle, it's like 45 degrees, and I've got windows that are slanted as well, and because they've obviously got ledges as well. What I have during the night is like crows and stuff, like they must land on there and they peck at the window, right? But I'm sat there fully in the dark, complete silence, and then all I hear from the window is like this like tonk tonk, you know, and I'm like I panic. Then I open the blinds and there's just this crow then scatters. So a lot of scary things is all in our heads.
Another thing actually, before I continue on the story, the whole when you wake up at 3:33 or 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and the reason why is because somebody might be watching you.
Oh God.
That's another scary thought. So I have woken up at 3 a.m. probably on more occasions than I usually would have. Even when I have like work early in the morning, I'm like, all right, yeah.
See, the thing is if you wake up and you're worried someone's watching you, just get under the sheets, like head and all.
Yeah.
It's hard to breathe, but it's necessary for survival.
100% body armor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, bed sheets are like, any knives and that you see in films, they can't go through bed sheets.
No. Even Michael Myers can't do that. Look, you see him in Halloween 2 when he's trying to stab the bed sheets and it doesn't even go through. You'll be fine. Anyway, continue on the story. So I remember everyone had started to get freaked out, and I think at this point the teachers had been alerted. The light had been turned back on, and everyone's like, "Oh no, that's definitely somebody outside staring at us." I couldn't see it clearly for some reason, even though I had a perfect view of the window. But because at that point I didn't know where everyone was looking at. So at that point the lights had turned on, and they decided to get one of the teachers or one of the people that was, because it was a mix of teachers and a mix of some people's parents that came on the trip to help out. Do you want to know who they brought in to try and calm everybody down?
Who's that?
My mum.
God.
Wow.
Oh my God! I've never thought I can change from worried and scared to absolute embarrassment in 2 seconds. I remember I just went, oh my God, awful. I didn't mind if we had someone else just to come in and just scream at us to shut up, because I would have been fine with that. I'd be scared, but I'd be fine. But have my mum to come to calm down everybody. Oh my God, I'm pretty and also one of my mates had started crying at that point. Oh, I do need to bring somebody on this podcast who will actually know the story I'm talking about, but I think I'll save that for another time. But that was the most. It's a really funny story, really, but it's embarrassing as well at the time. Out of all people, you could have brought in my mum.
Anyway, I've got on my mind now. I just started thinking about zombies. When I say zombies, Call of Duty zombies.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited for the release of the new Call of Duty.
I somewhat kind of am, kind of not, but I think my hype for COD has died over the years.
Yeah, see, my hype was just, I had a lot of hype for COD every year, and now what it was is like Black Ops 3. I didn't really get into, and then every like Modern Warfare type that side I've not done, but Black Ops 4 I got, and I played the crap out of zombies on that. So I've been looking forward to the new Cold War. I don't really know anything about the new zombies, and I'm kind of keeping it that way. I want to keep my discovery of the game genuine.
Okay.
So I'm basically distracting myself by playing through every other zombies in all the other games. which has been fun. I played 5 last time on the original Black
Oh
Ops.
yeah, on Black Ops 1. 5 isn't bad, but I remember there was a glitch that they didn't
You
patch.
get on top of that panel thing or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
I knew it had me on the PS3 because I used to play PS3 before I migrated to Xbox. Back in a good old console war era that I actually didn't mind at the time. But I remember the on PS3, like I know on Xbox the glitch had been patched, but still but on PS3 it was still like you could still glitch through, and it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, one glitch that I remember from like Kino de Toten was when it gets the dog round. You know, the front of the stage, you have like the steps.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should sit in the corner of it.
You can stand on it. Well, I played it the other day. Still works. Like that's just classic.
Yeah, guys, don't patch it, please.
Yeah, well, they won't at this point.
Nah, I don't think they will care at this point. Any glitch is still in the game. There's no point because everyone's just going to play the recent one. Oh god, I remember good old zombie days, like back in 2012 and 2013. And now I've been playing it again, but I've been playing like modded maps. And to be fair, like it's the same with Left 4 Dead. It's just a lot more fun because you've played all the maps like a lot of times. At the point, it gets repetitive in a way. But then when you play other zombie maps that modded, downloaded, and stuff on PC, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more fun. But I do remember the good old days of playing zombies back on the 360 because it was absolutely, it was good.
I mean, I was just trying to get the highest rounds all the time.
Playing with Dan, Louis, Josh, Ben, just remembering the people that used to come on. I'm pretty sure Ewan was around for a little bit. Not a lot though. But I remember that was just us lot, and we were either playing. Oh no, Black Ops 2. There was the 8 players of play 8 player mode, but it was 2 teams.
Oh, that was on Town, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was on Town, so we could have 8 people on. And I think we all planned to do something on Christmas Day on Black Ops 2, where it would be like 8 of us all playing. I thought that was a really neat idea because Xbox Live Parties had the limit of 8, so
Yeah, I don't think the game mode was that great though.
Nah. It was more of a which team will survive the longest, really.
Yeah.
And you could down the other team if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think that everyone just did that.
Yeah, well, that is what everyone would have been doing, to be honest. Nobody was mature at that age, were they?
No, but I mean, I'd still do it now. I'm not ashamed to admit that.
21 still, and you're still troll. Well, actually, to be fair, that is how most people used to troll because of other trolls that were a lot older. So.
I mean, trolling's fun though.
It can be, yeah. It depends.
I think it's if it's harmless in games like that, then that's fine.
It's just funny, like for both sides. But if it's like competitive, one side would be funny, the other side it'll be annoying.
Yeah, I feel like trolling when it like actually affects like an outcome of a game, especially like games like Minecraft, for example. Like when people go in and they troll and they actually start destroying people's maps and stuff. That's too far.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned Left 4 Dead 2.
As well.
It's been so long since I played that, and you just mentioned it, and I want to play it again.
They just released a new community update.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a swamp map. You get like zombies that throw mud at you and shit.
It's like
it's not that bad though. It's pretty fun.
The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Trying to think of games like Dead Island as well.
Dead Island was fun.
Oh god. If anything,
I had the best mod.
That crashed all of our consoles thanks to you.
I only did
Dead
it to
Island
Dan
though.
Every time Dad came on, I would just troll him.
He was like, "Why you crashed my console?"
Why is my game frozen? You've been spamming grenades at a car.
You troll me, Louis, and Ben with that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it was so broken that.
It was Dead Island. Was it Dead Island 2, the one where I think it was a trailer that starts with like someone falling out a window?
falling out of a window. Oh no, is it the little girl that falls out of the window?
That's the one. Yeah, it's a girl.
Oh no,
It was a
that's
little
in
girl.
the first trailer.
That's in the first one.
Is that the first one?
I think all I remember from that trailer is Jeff from Rooster Teeth watching it, and because he gets what's the word?
Yes,
Because he has a
that was
daughter,
it.
he gets very.
He got
doesn't like
got quite
watching-
emotional about it.
Yeah, he gets emotional about stuff like that. So when he started to watch like the girls start to fly up through the window, he was like, "No, I can't do it." And I don't. Play
Yeah,
it.
I remember. Yeah, that's why I remember it because I didn't really play it, but I remember that.
There's Dead Rising as well, I think. Only 1 and 2 though. We don't. 3 actually is okay. 4, yeah.
Oh, Dead Rising. Yeah. Oh, I got Dead Rising 3 when the Xbox One
Yeah,
came
it
out.
Yeah.
Oh man, I did play a lot of that game. That was quite fun, and obviously from that I then played Dead Rising 2. So
Yeah.
Dead Rising 3 was the one that got me into it.
Dead Rising 2 I played first, but yeah, I did prefer Dead Rising 2. You have to keep like, feeding your daughter injections. I'm like,
Yeah. That was
oh.
the kind of thing about Dead Rising 3. It was just like just go out and explore,
Yeah.
find the
Dead
find the
Rising 3 is
pizza on the
expensive.
roof. You gotta have the Breaking Bad reference in there.
Indeed. I'm trying to think of another zombie game, but it's more like a free run game, but it is somewhat by the developers of Dead Island, but I don't know what it is called.
There's Dying Light.
Dying Light. I've actually forgotten that name. I was like, yeah.
That's a great game.
Played it.
I've played a bit of it. It's pretty good.
I've got it on PC.
Let me have a look.
I can't remember how many hours we've got. I have 76 hours.
Nice. I mean, it is on sale at the moment because it's the Halloween event on Steam. So I might.
It's a very good game.
You've mentioned to me now. I might just buy it.
I might buy it as well because I got paid today.
We'll check in.
Yeah, cause I'm not sure if it's up to 2 or 4 players for online, but when you get it, it's so much fun. Because you got parkour as well.
Yeah.
And you can just drop kick zombies off a roof. And they go fucking flying.
Yeah, so I know what I'm probably going to do later on or tomorrow.
I'm trying to figure. Oh, I can figure some of the Xbox Live indie horror games like White Noise.
Oh, White Noise. I think you or Dan made us get that.
Yeah, because we both played. Well, because it was the Xbox version of Slender Man, and we really wanted to play it something like Slender, so we just went, "Hey, we could play this."
Oh my! I remember that. It was the indie game White Noise Online.
Yeah, White Noise Online. So they were 2 separate games. You had the single player, but then you had to pay extra to get White Noise Online.
This was the era of like before Minecraft came out. There was the other like indie games that were out on Xbox.
Like Fortress Craft, Castle Miners.
Yeah, things like that.
I think every time I mention Castle Miners, I trigger Dave with that.
You did, yeah.
What was it? Like I would his character would just be like standing like doing stuff like in the chest, and he would not notice me coming up behind him, and I would just stand there for ages.
No, because there wasn't really any like sound.
No, there was no sound, so he had no idea like anyone could have come up behind him and kill him. And I would just stand there for ages, and then I just remember Dave turning around and going, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
I've just had a look. I remember Castle Miner Z. That was funny. I'm sorry. It was like crappy Minecraft, but you have guns. And
you get to fight dragons, even though the end has that, but you can fight them.
They're just like
Yeah,
they just run about.
Yeah, but I found me and Dan a way to like just instantly get guns. So like you didn't have to sit for hours farming.
Yeah. To be fair, Castle Miners is now on PC.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's always been on PC actually.
Yeah, it's been on PC for ages. Like
I think,
2016, because I did a giveaway for that.
Yeah, so I think it's one.
Yeah, it's like 10 quid for a DLC, and you can have up to 4 people.
Yeah. So, I know a good horror story.
Go on then.
Discord light theme.
What, just like
Yeah.
itself, just
Yeah.
being How do you even get it to be light theme?
It's in the settings, but it's awful. Honestly,
So bright.
it's so
Oh my
bright.
god! How? Oh no, that hurts my eyes. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm turning that back.
Now
Yeah,
that is a horror
right.
story.
That is a horror story. I agree with you there.
When I first watched this one, that was the first thing that was set on. So you just see this bright white thing. Oh yeah.
Can I ask one more urban legend I just remembered? Did any of you guys at your school used to do Bloody Mary in the mirror?
No.
No, but I actually read up on this recently.
Mhm.
Bloody Mary in the mirror was actually a thing, because what people would do is they'd look into a mirror with dim lights and say Bloody
Yeah.
Mary 3 times. And what happens is if you stare at yourself in the mirror at low light for a long time, your face, you start to not recognize yourself.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing with psychology.
Is
Um, and your face starts to warp and things, and you have a sense of disconnect with the reflection. So that's where kind of like the Bloody Mary thing came from.
Mhm.
But yeah, I found that interesting. I found about it recently, and they say, oh yeah, if you ever want to try it, just pop a candle down, turn the light off in the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror.
We used to do it in primary school.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not gonna do that.
I did it once, I think. And we didn't use candles or anything, but what was it? Us lads were going to the toilets and we'd turn off the lights because there was a light switch and there were no windows as well, so we could do it. And I remember at one point, I don't know if this is true or not. This is according to JJ or Ben, I think. I'm not sure. I need to ask one of them. But it was like apparently at one point, like they had just started to see like a line, like an outline of a figure, to start appearing in the mirror.
I see.
But I hadn't noticed it at all. So some of them more just decided to leave, and I didn't even notice it. And then I just shortly left. I didn't even see it. That's a thing. But I remember, like, I just hear people scream and run out, and then we got told.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what essentially happens is you start as you're looking into the mirror, you actually start to hallucinate.
You start to see things because
Yeah.
what your brain, because it's so dark, and this is the same with silence as well. Actually, thinking about it.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you'll just start to hear static.
Yeah. If you go into like a what's it called, an anechoic chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start hallucinating. Because you can hear like your own blood flowing through your veins, which is very weird concept to me.
This is where you need that every now and again.
Yeah.
God.
Oh god, I love having a soundboard for a good old reason. Oh,
That actually made me jump, and I was like, I just jumped at the Roblox oof sound.
that's my alarm for like when I need to get up for work. I'm not even kidding. Like,
Does it, or does it just go that on repeat?
Oof, yeah.
Oh god.
It actually wakes me up though, so fair play to the alarm.
Yeah, whatever works.
Whenever it works, yeah. I think is that everything we got for this Halloween special this year?
Probably. I said probably.
Yeah. Jack, have you got anything else to say?
I mean, I as I said, I'm not one to watch a lot of Halloween stuff.
But now,
well, horror things in general.
we suggest you do.
Yeah. I think I need to re-spark my Halloween spirit. 'Cause, like last year, I didn't do anything. I was like the typical like Scrooge of Halloween, where
Scrooge bar.
you know,
something.
I just shut all my windows, turn all the lights off. If anyone knocked, I would just ignore it. But I think I need to re-spark that like interest in it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch some scary movies tonight. Play some scary games. I've actually started it for this podcast. I've turned off all the lights and I put candles around me. So whenever you've been talking about scary stuff, I have been getting a bit of chills and a bit paranoid looking behind me and stuff.
Can we also agree that Ouija boards are not to be messed with?
I really want to do it.
I want to do a Ouija board, but not in my own home, for God's sake. I already have enough stuff to deal with my own home. I don't want to deal with spirits as well.
Okay, so when it's when groups inside and stuff are more allowed, and I think we should do it. And you can come around mine. I think it'll be fun to see what the spirits of my house have to say. It'll probably be some really weird things about telling you guys what I do when I'm alone.
That's fine.
At least then the ghost can expose you.
Yeah.
Could be
Ghostly
worse.
Keemstar. Oh, good God. To be fair, I think, yeah. Originally we were meant to have Louis on, but he's been busy. But it was originally meant to be us four, but got the classic trio from the good old 360 days to join on this special Halloween episode of the Betatalk Podcast. It's been a pleasure with me, Dave, and Jack.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's no problem, guys.
Thanks for allowing me to come.
And hopefully these guys can come back on for another episode, like a Christmas special or something, or a Mandalorian special, because I said I'd happily season 2 spoiler review of Mandalorian.
Oh, isn't that out?
Yeah, it came out
The
today.
first episode's out. I've already watched it. It's brilliant, but I'm not going to mention it.
I haven't watched it. I'm trying to find a website where I can watch all of them at once.
Dave,
you violated the law.
Yeah, when I've downloaded them all, totally legally, I'll share a login with you.
Can we get
So
this
you can watch them.
VPN,
Yeah.
please? Can we get this podcast sponsored by NordVPN?
Yeah.
Or ExpressVPN, or whatever VPN service we get. B&M VPN. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this special episode of the Betatalk Podcast. Enjoy this Halloween, depending on hopefully when you listen to. Hopefully this should be released tomorrow from as it's recorded, because it's been recorded the day before. So hopefully you'll be able to listen to it right on Halloween, depending on if it's Spotify, YouTube, Google, Apple Podcasts, or Anchor, because that's where we're publishing it from first. So hope you enjoyed the special spooky episode of the podcast. And until next time, guys, we will see you guys later, and happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.